cowboy in speed.
All right, fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Bourbon and Boxing. All the connoisseurs out there, Bourbon and Boxing. Welcome to the Bourbon and Boxing podcast, undisputed champion of all the things pugilism and premium pours. We're coming to you live, of course, from Cincinnati, Ohio, guys. Just doing our boxing thing on here. Of course, this is episode 102. We've got a stacked card of content for you tonight. Not a lot of news in the boxing world. We were just talking about that kind of right now is a snoozer area for boxing. So not a whole lot of news. We dug and try to find some good news for you guys. Nothing special on the news side today, but we got a great card from last week we're going to go over. Of course, in our main event, going to go talk about the fights this weekend. Really nice little card that we've seen. But before we get there, let's get to the two hosts with the most, the Cowboy and
Spade. Let's go.
Right.
And we do got big news, but I'm gonna announce it at the end of the end of it. I keep telling Jeff about these things, and he's not. But we gonna get that.
It's not coming. Sorry. All right.
We gonna because I'm gonna get on Jeff about this right here because he needs to. Yeah, I'm gonna get on you.
Okay. Well, let's get it, bro. Let's get this going, man. A nice main card over the weekend. Richard Hitchins versus George Ferocious Kambosos. Was a nice little card overall from top to bottom. I really enjoyed it. A lot of young guys on this card, young up-and-coming guys who had an opportunity to make a name for themselves, and I thought they did a great job this weekend. The young guys on this card really showcased their skill, and really it was an opportunity for them to do it, and I think they did a great job. But I want to start with the main event on that card first. Of course, Richard Hitchins defeats George Kambosos with a TKO in round 8. And I'll let you go first on what you saw from Hitchinson. Super impressive performance on his behalf. But what did you see in that fight against Kambosos? What can we take from him fighting a guy like Kambosos? Kambosos is a warrior. We know that. He's always going to give it his all. But he's not the top guy out there. But he is a good guy to kind of range, I guess, where you're at. And what'd you take from Hitchinson in this?
He boxed his motherfucking head off. He boxed his head off. Richardson got skills, bro. He got nice skills, bro. Like he got nice skills. I like his skills, but it's still just one guy I think that pop that boxer shit and put that pressure on him. You know what that is, but I gotta see him now. I gotta see him in a better fight. Like him and Devin, it'd be a good fight, but it'd be I don't know, cause Devin will engage, but ain't no telling how that fight would go. People was trying to compare them. I think their styles a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of similar and it's different at the same time. But I love this jab, bro, and this counter, bro. Like, dude, nice, bro. Yeah. And he stopped him. He stopped him too. Like, you know what I mean? He boxed smart as shit. Like, cut him in the first round with the jab. Like, that jab is nasty.
That jab just stood out.
He might got the best jab to me. And I seen glimpses of like Shakur. Like, I seen there's a Shakur hitting too, though. Like, bro, like that jab a nasty motherfucker. Like, Devin Haney got a good jab, but that motherfucker, he really stayed true to his jab. Like, he was staying true to his jab.
Absolutely,
He really ain't break his shit until because he wanted to stop him. He could have beat him on the outside all night. He could have boxed that boy head off. Like, but they was talking about Bill Henry was talking about him getting hit too much. I don't think he got hit too much. Like, he ain't get hit too much. Like, he get hit.
That's what happens when you're engaging. You know, when you're engaging, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah, he got hit when he was. I was about to say he got hit when he was engaging. Yeah, but that's anybody. Like, when you always engage, it's kind of like, I mean, you got good pocket fighters that can fight in the inside, but when you engage like that and you fight another person that's coming forward, it's always like a 50-50. Like, you're going to get hit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he looked good. You know, I've been talking about Richard Hitchins. I've been wanting to see him fighting. So, yeah, I was happy. I was happy with it. I wasn't no Devin Haney last fight. I was happy. I was happy he won. And he showed his talent. I was just happy that he stood on what he said he was going to do. And he did it. So, yeah, I'm definitely, I fuck with him, though.
All right.
Now, Teofimo probably gonna be a little tougher fight for him, but it could be a tougher fight for Teofimo. Like you don't know. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm fucking with it though. I love to see him fight any of them top guys right now. Ain't no telling who he gonna fight though. Like you know what I'm saying, but you know.
All right. Your sound's a little low on your side a little bit. When you lean forward, it seems to pick it up a little bit more.
Could you hear me now?
Yeah. I could hear you, but it was just a little bit lower. And I got everything.
My hand probably was covering.
Okay. Yeah, because you were coming in good at some points, really nice, and then fading out on others. But I was getting everything you were saying, and I love the jab work that he was doing. Very super impressed with that. The way he utilized it the entire fight, he didn't go away from it. He continued with it. His eyes in the ring, I was really impressed with how he was maneuvering himself around, breaking George down round by round. I love how he obviously did his homework and he saw where Loma hurt him in the body. So, ended with a nice little body shot. He's susceptible to that. And he utilized it. And he didn't do it too early. He didn't do it too soon. He waited. It was like, stalking your prey, breaking it down, broke him down, and then finishing because he knew he wasn't just going to finish George with one big punch. You know what I'm saying? He had to break him down because George, at the end of the day, George Kambosos has not only utilized everything that he should do as a fighter. He has never turned down a big fight. He took that Teo fight, he won it, and he ran with it. And he said, I'll fight Devin Haney. I'll fight Lomachenko. I'll fight Hitchins. He don't turn anybody down. And he's a warrior, and he gives his all in the ring. And Hitchinson knew, utilize that jab on him, break him down, and then just beautiful eye work in the ring, beautiful jab establishment. And I loved what I saw overall from Hitchinson. Definitely 140 contender. And, for me, he mentioned Teofimo Lopez. He mentioned Devin Haney. He mentioned everybody and their grandma. But he ain't mentioned Gary Antoine Russell.
Yeah,
he ain't mentioned.
He don't mention Ryan either, though. Like,
yeah, he mentioned Ryan. He didn't mention Gary Antoine Russell.
He did.
Did he? I didn't see him mentioning him. So maybe it was after I popped it off.
No, not that. It wasn't that night of that fight. It was in an interview. But
it
was like
there's your opportunity. You can unify. Gary's got one of the belts. You can unify.
He mentioned him, but it was like, I want everybody, whoever.
Yeah, and he said he wanted to unify, but he skipped the boogeyman. He went right past him. He went right past him. So that was one of my things with him. I said, oh, man, he's a smart kid because you got to know what, styles make fights. Maybe the style that Russell is may not be a fight that he finds in favor of himself. You never question yourself as a fighter. You always got that confidence. Hitchins for sure has that confidence to think he can beat anybody at any time. And if he fights smartly the way he does with his eye, his eye, not just his IQ in the ring, his eyes in the ring, his jab, and he does that, it's going to be really hard to beat a guy like that. He's a very fundamental fighter. And at 140, him and Teo I think that would be a spectacular fight. My question is, with the way Teo moves, how does he adjust to that type of movement that we see from Teo? He's got that Latin, like he's sambaing, he's in the ring doing, the Latin dances, and he's just, he's very movable. How does a guy like Hitchins, who is more of a stable style, break you down, stalk his prey? How does he break that down? Does he just kind of maybe let him dance his way in the corners and try to corner him as much as he can, cut the ring off?
I think Teofimo engaged more on him. I think he come in on him. Where,
I don't know. He shows a little bit of power with that body shot. And he stunned Kambosos earlier in the fight with a nice little headshot that almost, sent him stumbling a little bit. He wasn't able to finish him out, but so he shows that power a little bit. So I don't know how much Teo would engage. But also with Teo floating around that 140, 147 mark, you think he's able to truly jump back down to 140 comfortably?
I ain't seen any fight. Who he fight at 147?
His last fight was at 147 against the dude he fought in New York. That was a 147. like 140, like over 140 catch weight or something like that. And then with Devin, with the Devin fight, he wanted to fight Devin at 140, but supposedly Devin wanted to. Maybe it's Devin who wants to fight at 147. Maybe I'm misconstruing the two, but yeah, it's Devin. Devin wanted that fight at a catch weight. But I know if I'm correct, Lopez didn't fight at 140 in his last fight.
I could have sworn he was at 147,
Because,
and Devin was the biggest weight there.
yeah, Devin was at
I
147.
I know Devin and Rolly. I mean, Rolly and Ryan fought at 147.
Yeah. And Rolly fought at 147. Yeah.
I know Devin fought at a catchweight and Teofimo was 140. I could have sworn. I don't know though.
He was 140. I thought he was. Yeah, I didn't think any of them. That's what I was. We talked about it a few episodes back before it happened. I thought that they were all going up, and that's where we're like, well, why are they all moving up to 147?
Nah, he was going.
Or are they making a personal move to 147?
He was trying to go up to fight Boots. I know Teo was, but I don't think he went up. I think he was the only one at 140. Naturally at 140.
Okay. All right. I must have misunderstood that one. But so that puts him in the mix at 140. But he's also said with his manager releasing the statement not long ago that he didn't want to take the Devin fight at the time. August 16th was too much of a turnaround for him, and that he probably wouldn't fight till later on in the year. That might work for Hitchins, who just fought now, but that's a lot of time. I say he doesn't want to fight till December. You know what I mean? That's a lot of time off when you're hot right now. So I don't know if that's the next fight for him. I said Jack Catterall. I don't think the two names people aren't talking about at 140 is obviously Gary Antoine Russell and then Jack Catterall. These are two guys nobody is talking about and nobody wants to fight. Jack Catterall is a dangerous fight for anybody. He's a tough little Brit dude. I mean, he's tough, dude. And I thought it might have been a fluke against Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor hasn't looked that great, blah, blah, blah. Ever since he unified the division at 140, he really hasn't looked great, and he's taken a lot of L's. But every fight I've seen Catterall win, because that's when I started paying attention to him. When he beat Josh Taylor in that first fight, they gave it to Josh Taylor, but that's when I started paying attention to Catterall. And I'm like, man, this dude's good. But then I was like, maybe it's a fluke. Watched him in his next fight. I'm like, this motherfucker's good. Watched him, I think it might have been Montana Love. He might have beat him also. But like just watching him in his last probably 3 or 4 fights, he's the real deal. Like this kid's good, and nobody's calling his name at 140, and he'll give anybody a fight. And so
he probably just ain't got nothing to offer right now, like a name. Like
he doesn't have a belt or anything. He would have, but here's the crazy thing: he should have been unified. He would have been the unified 140 champion. They absolutely robbed him in that Josh Taylor fight. One of the biggest robberies in boxing history, in my opinion. It was just a complete robbery. So we both think Hitchins looks good. We both have put out a few names on who we think might be a good contender for him. Like I said, I'd love to see him really challenge himself. I guess he's going to definitely want to fight somebody with a belt. He's earned that right to try to unify the division with the bigger names. I don't see a Devin. I mean, Bill Haney talks a lot of shit. You know, he's mentioning, saying pretty much like, don't talk about my son, don't mention my son in the same breath as you. Like, you're not even close to my son, which I think that'd be a good fight. But can Haney make the 140 weight now? He seems to be wanting to fight around above that because, like we said, the Lopez, when he was trying to make the contract with Teo, he was trying to make that at a catch weight above 140. So it's a question if he can even make 140 at this point. All right, Cowboys.
Teo be running. It seems like he be running from Devin Haney, man.
Who's that?
Teo, he been running from Devin.
Man,
135.
Honestly, they should have fought a long time ago. I'm not going to lie. Absolutely. They should have fought a long time ago. So I don't really get that aspect of why, two of the biggest names in the sport, they were at 135 at the same time. They were at 140 at the same time, and not one time that they fought each other. So, that to me, that's just a bad look on boxing, that two of your biggest names have not fought each other, honestly, when they should have at this point. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Teo's weird. His manager was talking something about, I guess he's got some out of out of the ring issues going on and all this other
He
shit.
always
So,
got issues, bro.
yeah, that's how I kind of feel. Like he's kind of always got some kind of issue going on. Now let's get to that undercard, man. We had a nice little undercard. And let's start out with Andy Cruz defeating Mashiro with a TKO in round 5. Of course, I thought Andy Cruz looked absolutely spectacular. His opponent, now, once again, we got to also take the opponent into consideration, all that other stuff, but he did look like he really showcased, like he seems to get a little bit better in each one of his pro fights. His first 2 fights, yeah. He did fight a lot of amateur fights, but so yeah, he's kind of coming along to me, and he's getting out of his shell. Now he's starting to show that he is one of the top guys at lightweight as far as contender wise. Top contenders coming up there with Murtala, up there with Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn. Well, Keyshawn's beyond. He was a former champion, and he's probably not going to be at 135 anymore. But he is up there with Murtala and Abdullah Mason, a couple of these other guys at 135 contender wise. What did you think of his performance this weekend, and what is the ceiling on this guy? And who do you think he should fight next?
So he looked nice. I mean, he looked great. Like his opponent, he did what he's supposed to do. It looked like he getting better. He looked good though. I ain't gonna lie, but I don't know who he should fight next. I don't know. Like I don't really know. I have no clue for real because everybody building up right now. So that 135 class is talented, but it's building up. Like still got people that still got to prove themselves. Like so, I don't know, man. I really don't know who he should fight next. It shouldn't be him and Abdullah though. That ain't no conversation. That's a money fight for the future.
Yeah, that's a future fight you would want to set up. But I do, I mean, I can see him and Raymond Murtala, even though Murtala might be a lot for him to take on right now, but that would be a good fight. And if I'm correct, Murtala, because Lomachenko retiring, the IBF belt has become vacated. And I didn't know if I heard something about Raymond Murtala being the number 1 contender for that IBF belt, that he would fight for it next. Andy Cruz would be a nice little guy to put in that with him. Outside of that, I don't really know who else at 135.
Yeah, I don't know who else.
There's not a lot of guys outside of Raymond Murtala, and there might be that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head.
Andy Cruz might end up fighting Shakur. This is so crazy. That might end up happening real soon, sooner than we think.
Well, he's honestly, man, Andy Cruz is kind of like Lomachenko. He's got that amateur background to him coming out of Cuba. He beat Keyshawn supposedly 4 times in the amateurs. So, he's got that Lomachenko legendary amateur background he's only 5 fights in, and we're already talking about giving him a title fight because we already know that he's beyond that fight. Like, he's not your average 5-fight fighter. He's not a 19, 20-year-old 5-fight fighter. You know what I mean? I want to say he's maybe about 24, 25 years old, something like that. And he might be older than that. Who knows? From Cuba.
I think he's about that age.
Yeah, so about 24, 25 years old. He's young. So, I mean, but he's got a lot of amateur history, which makes him more of a pro than a lot of guys at his age with 5 fights under their belts. So it's like, yeah, you don't want to see him up against a guy like, don't want to put him up against Abdullah Mason right now. I get that. So, who are you going to put him up against? What about De Los Santos? What about De Los Santos?
Because of that, though. But
what about Cruz and De Los Santos?
2 Cubans.
That'd be a nice little matchup, I think.
Hell yeah.
I mean, De Los Santos deserves some kind of fight. Reward for not getting the big Keyshawn fight. Why not put him up against a guy like Andy Cruz?
Well, vacant belt or something. Hell yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Even put that IBF up there that he had an opportunity to get, or the vacated belt that Keyshawn had. What did Keyshawn have? The WBO? Yeah, WBO. So put that up there, and then let Murtala fight somebody for the the IBF championship, and then maybe be able to match that up down the road. Shakur fighting one of them.
Yeah.
if he gets through Zepeda. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. He's still got to get through Zepeda.
He gonna dog wash Zepeda. I've been told you that.
Yeah, and I liked Turkey Al-Sheikh actually took up for Shakur this weekend because we'll jump down to a little bit of news. Maybe I'll stay on track, man, without getting too off course. We'll talk about it when we get down to it without me jumping too off course, because I'm going to let you talk about some of the other fights on this card. You were big on the heavyweight Taramona. And he defeated this guy, and you were super impressed with him. I told you I wasn't too impressed with him. So I'm going to let you tell everybody what impressed you about this heavyweight that we saw over the weekend that a lot of people have been talking about, and this was his U.S. debut. And he's a big name with the size, 6'6", and all that other stuff. But
he got a good amateur background, too. But
okay.
What impressed me about him was his athleticism, how he can move in the ring being that big. I don't know if you ain't noticed that or not.
I mean, I noticed it, but it's hard to notice when you're fighting a cab driver's cousin.
It ain't hard to notice.
I mean, he was moving.
You see it. Like it ain't no hard to notice. Nothing in boxing. When you see something, you see it. Like, I mean, now with him having pressure on him, different pressure. We don't know.
Yes.
He's just now building, but that's like any other fighter we watch that we see.
But right now.
We're talking about Andy Cruz, like
yeah,
he got a lot of these fighters got a good amateur. Abdullah probably had 200 amateur fights, like
yeah.
But we see it. When you see it, you see it. It ain't no who they fighting. When you showing your class is above average, and you getting a motherfucker out of there that shouldn't be out of there, that shouldn't be in there with you. That's great. You're showing something at that level right now. A lot of guys should be getting guys out of there like the Indian dude. I did not like him. He was trash.
Yeah, like
He was trash, and you probably like.
I have to disagree with you. I thought he was all right.
Point exactly.
But look, he lacks power. He lacks power. All right, I get 100%.
He don't know how to use his distance. He don't know how to use his distance. He was coming.
I thought he was all right. I thought he was pretty good.
And he fought a cab driver. Now just imagine if he fighting somebody that's gonna slip that shit and hit him and put pressure on him.
I mean, he's got some work to do. He's from India. Boxing in India really ain't. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, and it's. If you would be honest, it's not. You don't really see Indian boxers. So yes,
he ain't gonna last long, brother.
But he shows a lot of potential. The one thing that I did see, he doesn't have the finishing power. So yeah, I agree with that. But I was impressed with him overall. I did like him. What did you think about Shakur's nephew? What is it, Zaquan Moses? What did you think about his fight? And what you thought about him overall?
Yeah, that's his cousin. Shit, I'm impressed. Just got to see him work though. I got to see him fight somebody. He fought somebody that was gassed out. He got skills though. He got it, but we're gonna see. I
saw it.
Really pressure on.
Yeah, and I kind of like what I saw from him, but I also remember his amateur career. 22-6 in his amateur career. He did have 6 losses down there. And I know you can't take a lot away from the loss column, but I think he could be good, but I don't know if he's Shakur good. You know what I'm saying? Like on that type of level, if he could be the next generation. Like I see talent in him, and if he, depends on, who he's with or whatever, and how he comes along. He has all the tools and stuff like that. And I'm sure he's got all the right people around him at the moment. So he could be a nice little future fighter. Also, Adam Maka. He defeated Castillo in a TKO in the second round. Don't know much about that guy, to be real with you. But like I said, you were super impressed with the heavyweight. I wasn't too impressed. But I just got to say, there's a lot of young heavyweights out there right now that are really super impressive, to be honest with you.
How many fights did he have?
Tama, I think that was like his 8th fight. I think that was his 8th fight. Something like that.
Super impressed. I just seen something in him.
No, you liked what you saw, but I mean, you liked what you saw, and I ain't against it. That makes me say, hey, I'll pay more attention to him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Instead of going by his
I like
opponent.
I don't like that slugging shit and big and slow. I
You
like
know who
athleticism for heavyweights.
yeah.
I like
He
pace
reminded
and he
me
got
of
power. He
he
got
reminded me
power.
of Parker. He reminded me of Parker a little bit. And you can't go wrong if you're anything
I
close to
got
Parker.
I gotta see more though. I
We
gotta
had a
see more,
couple,
but I like how he moved. I thought he
yeah,
was gonna be one of them big motherfuckers that
sluggish.
yeah, he
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's what shocked me because I'm like, man, but he
Yeah.
came out moving
I
and
mean, the
shit. I'm like,
heavyweight
oh,
division
okay.
is on. Like, if you really look at the heavyweight division right now, I mean, we're going to talk about Wardley. We really didn't hit on him in the last show with his knockout of Hun. Hun is a nice little heavyweight. Wardley's a nice heavyweight. Atamu Moses is a nice little heavyweight. The heavyweight division has a really bright future. I feel like, you know, you bring this guy in now. You know, Tamu. You bring him into the picture. The heavyweight division looks like it has a really bright future.
Yeah, but
You know,
you know that heavyweight shit, we always be like, okay, and then what happened? A motherfucker get knocked off
I
every
mean, it
time.
happened. It happened last weekend. Wardley was losing the entire fight.
Him,
Fabio Wardley losing the
Jared,
entire fight. He was
Jared
getting
Anderson.
outboxed, and he landed one solid punch on Hun and slept him. Everybody knows Wardley has that one punch knockout, and
Yeah,
he laid Hun, and he just the same way. But like, who were you talking about?
Jared Anderson. Then we the
Who was Jared Anderson? Who was that? You know, I'm fucking with you. My dude just ain't been in the ring that long. I
yeah,
mean,
we
I forgot about Jared. But yeah, he was
Jared, the
the.
dude that he lost to. We was impressed with him. He got beat. That shit don't
He
last
still looked, but
forever
hold
though.
on. Bacoli still looked outside of the Parker, taking the Parker fight on the last minute. But Bacoli looked really good against Jeffy Adabe. I thought that was a really good fight, especially towards the end.
Yeah, you did say that, but I'm just saying he got knocked off though.
Yeah, he got slept in a last minute fight out of shape against a Parker. Parker. I don't know, man. I didn't have a lot of respect for him after he took a loss, and you know he really has rebounded since that loss that he took early in
Don't
his
think
career.
that guy was out of shape, bro. He in the gym. He wouldn't have took that fight out of
Man,
shape.
you see him coming to that ring, he was 300 and something pounds, bro, of cheeseburger eating ass.
Hey, he was that big when he fought Jared.
Yeah, but he was like, I don't know, man. Like even in the well, I don't know. I guess so because even in the
Man, he
Dabe,
was. Remember,
Jeffy,
we was
like
like, man,
he wasn't fully.
he big as hell. We was saying that
Yeah,
against Jared,
he,
like, bro,
the
he
big
big
dude
as
just
fuck.
waiting for that solid punch.
Yeah,
You know, land
yeah.
that big punch. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, Other notable fights over the weekend, man. Natito Dinero defeats Andre Campos in a unanimous technical decision. Juan Francisco Estrada, the legend, defeats Kareem Arce Lugo in a unanimous decision over the weekend. Also, I don't, you know, Francisco wants to become a champion at 118. He's an older guy. I don't know if he's really got the legs, stamina to do it, but hey, more power to him if he can get it done. And you know, let's see what he does. This week's fight card, my guy. It is a weird week for boxing. We're going to get an early fight on Thursday, June 19th. You're going to get the WBO welterweight title. Brian Norman Jr. versus a guy in Japan, Sasaki. And this fight is going to be over in Tokyo, Ada City Gymnasium in Tokyo, Japan. That's going to be on the 19th, so which means that's probably going to be an early fight too. So that's weird. I wonder if it's going to be set on a different time here. But yeah, for Brian, what do you think about this fight for Brian Norman Jr. going over to Japan, taking this fight? What other options does he really have? You know, Barrios is tied up with Pacquiao. Boots just came out of a fight. He just beat the other champion. You know. Stanonis. So what else did it really leave him? Where did it leave him to go? Do you think this is a good fight for him to pick right now to stay busy fight for him? Because I feel like he just recently fought also, right?
He did.
Yeah, like what, 2 months ago?
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't even a 3-month turnaround. I feel like it was a 2-month turnaround. He just recently fought.
He building this.
So
He building this. Building himself up. But
yeah,
I just hope he come back with that belt. You know what I'm saying? Keep it
yeah,
mixed
yeah,
up. Keep it mixed up. They say dude ranked number 5. He already over. Yeah, so damn, he fight Thursday. But yeah,
yeah.
they say dude ranked number 5. I think he ranked number 5 in a welterweight. So yeah, I mean, stay busy. Hopefully, come back with the belt. I like him. He decent. Need to get his feet together, move his head a little more. But he I want to see him uh, continue winning. So I hope he come back with that motherfucker though. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the best thing going right now.
Damn, Patriot.
Pacquiao coming in, fucking shit up. Like, man, how the
Yeah,
fuck, man?
absolutely. Because
How
this
you
should be
come
a
back?
Norman.
How you come back and get a championship fight and you go down?
Exactly. And I guess because he's Pacquiao, but at the same time, I mean, I guess George Foreman did it too. He was, 50 years old when he came back and got a title fight, won the title in a fight that he was pretty much getting his ass whooped in,
Yeah,
and just kind of landed that nice little punch and then took over that fight. But overall, I agree with you. This shouldn't be Norman going to Japan to fight some dude we ain't never really heard of. Uh,
right.
and Barrios fighting a retired fucking Pacquiao, non-champion, not even ranked at the time, everything. So yeah, it's just another one of those things for boxing. I think this is Norman just, hey, I'm going to take a stay busy fight, but the fights in Japan can be really dangerous. You got to watch out for
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
that's why I
The
tell you.
time change, the jet lag, all that stuff
He
comes
been
into
over there though. He been over there. He been over there.
yeah, I'd hope he, but like we said, he's on such a short turnaround. That I'd hope he's been over there for at least a few weeks, a month maybe, to really
Yeah, he
adapt
been
to the
over there
changes.
because I just seen the interview. He said he good. Like he over there
I mean, they
cooling.
all say that they ain't never gonna admit they ain't good. They're gonna be over
Yeah,
there
but I'm
falling
saying,
asleep
but I
at
believe him
two
because he
o'clock.
said at first he was messed up and his body was messed up. Then he took him a couple of days and he got used to it. So I think he been over there
Yeah,
probably about a month.
absolutely. Well, that's definitely a
I
good
go over
thing.
there early. I do my whole training camp over that motherfucker if I
Yeah,
can. I ain't gonna
my
lie.
question is why can't those fighters come to the U.S.? Like, I mean, that
Cause it's
to me.
um, I mean it's the same type of deal.
I mean, it just seems sketchy to me. Like, what are they doing? They can't bring it over here. You know what I mean? Are they going to fail some kind of test in the States? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know,
I
man.
don't
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, don't fight tricky, ain't they?
Yeah, yeah. And it's tricky fights. We got three other main cards going on this weekend. Vito Malinicki is going to be fighting. I don't know this dude's name, Camille. And then you got Galal Yaffe going up against Francisco Rodriguez Jr., Colin Walsh going up against Elijah Espinoza. Now, Colin Walsh
You
is a
said
guy.
Nico Ali Wash. It's like
No. It kind of all came together like that. I think Colin Ali, Washburn, Eli, But Colin Walsh is he would be a nice if he wins this fight. He might be a nice little matchup if I'm right. He's at 175. Might be a good little matchup against David Benavidez while he holds over for a Benavidez fight.
that nigga is might as well retire, man.
Not
Tell him about
Benavidez, but Bivol as he waits for a Bivol fight. But yeah, all
oh
those
yeah,
fights were pretty
nobody want
good
to
fights
fight.
over the weekend. You'll get these. They should be entertaining fights for us over the weekend. Keep us busy. No super fights going on right now. It looks like we're a couple weeks out really for all those. Not really because you will, if you take Jake Paul and that dude that he's fighting, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., take those off of that card, take it off that name. That's a nice little card on there for let me look it up and show you guys. It's actually a nice little card. I was super impressed, not with who's fighting, but Jake Paul, I'm not interested in that fight, but the other ones on there, Roberto Ramirez, who I think, should be fighting Ja Obati after this fight coming up. But you'll get those guys in a couple weeks. Like not a lot of you got Liam Paro coming up. He's going to be fighting on a Wednesday. You do have Deontay Wilder coming back next weekend, we'll talk about what we think about his return or what we expect to see from him. Chris and McBilly on there. But on the Jake Paul card, minus Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., you got Gilberto Ramirez going up against Dorticos, Floyd Schofield going up against Tevin Farmer on that same card. So that isn't a bad little undercard on that, even though I'm not really, with the Jake Paul scene and all that bullshit. But the undercard on that has some real boxers on it. So it's something that I think we're going to talk about after we just completely ignore that the Jake Paul fight is on that card. We'll just pretend it never happened. All right. Turkey Al-Sheikh has a new policy was announced this weekend in response to fighters running instead of fighting. Haney and Skull were the examples. No more Tom and Jerry, as he calls it. Thoughts on that? He's supposedly going to put in what we've talked about before, and I've said down the road, and I've said it a million times before, how you don't have a performance clause in every fucking contract is beyond me. A bonus for great performance, and if you go out there and you run around, then you're going to be penalized for that type of fight, for not putting on a fight, not engaging, and not doing what you're supposed to do maybe as a boxer. Now, I like it, but a lot of people were aiming and just intentionally talking about Shakur and his fight against De Los Santos. A fight that happened, 2 years ago? And they're still talking about that fight. And they're like, oh, this is for Shakur. But Turkey Al-Sheikh came out and he quieted all that. And he's like, no, this is for like the Devin Haney fight that we saw and the Skull fight. The way they ran around the ring and did not engage with the opponent. He said, I'm not talking about like a Floyd Mayweather who engaged and moved. I'm not talking about Shakur Stevenson who engages and moves. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the straight running that we've seen. And I mean, we saw it in the Teofimo Lopez fight against the one guy that he fought. The guy just absolutely got on his bike and pedaled the whole fucking fight. But I get that aspect of it. But for some reason, people decided to take shots at Shakur Stevenson, man. What's your thought on this rule that he's trying to implement? No more Tom and Jerry. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, you can't tell a boxer how to box. I mean, what the fuck? They're going to box how they want to box, regardless. If they running, if they not running, the other boxer got to know how to cut them off and make them not be able to run. Point blank, period.
Well, that did come into play. He said he wants to make a one size ring, 18, not 20, 18 for every ring that is sponsored by his fights. He can do that in boxing because you don't have a set ring. Yeah, so he can't say, we're going to make an 18-inch ring and good luck with running in that ring.
I mean, the boxer gonna box how they want to. It don't matter what the fuck you're talking about.
But and we talked about it before.
You can't kill boxing with the audacity of saying, "Oh, if you run this and that," like it got to be more stipulations for that. Because a motherfucker can, that just, bro, it's boxing, bro. It's not you engaging more. That's some UFC shit. Boxing is science. If you running. If you ain't running, the other fighter just got to know how to be able to cut that shit off. I know it's numerous of people that would have cut that off, would have gassed that man out and caught up with him. He wouldn't have been able to run like that.
Now, I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to cut you off, but I want you to rewind to something you just said.
What?
This ain't the UFC, right? You're not going to engage. Who is in Turkey Al-Sheikh's corner right now?
Yeah, That's what
who did he just sign to a contract to run by Dana White, a UFC guy. So what you said is something I've not heard anybody mention. What you just said makes more sense to me now on why he would start thinking, okay, this Tom and Jerry shit. And when you kind of put that in a perspective that I haven't heard anybody talk about as far as this isn't UFC. That you're not just going to engage like that. You're there to box and fill out your opponent, all that other stuff. But the guy that's in his ear is telling him, no, they need to engage, which is obviously Dana White, UFC.
They turn their back and run. Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But like if I'm laddering around the ring, I'm going this way and going that way, and that man can't cut the ring off or be able to get to me, just like Boots. Like Boots when they fought the one dude, y'all gotta know how to be able to smother that man. You know what I'm saying? Because evidently, like shit, like Canelo, you slow on your feet, bro. Like you can stopping him and making him go that way, make him trick him and come back over and hit him with something.
And he was to the best of his abilities. I will say Skull's movement was rather impressive. The way he and 12 fucking rounds of doing that. I would have thought at some point you gonna wear the fuck down. Yeah. But he didn't. This motherfucker danced for 12 rounds and he moved because when Canelo was landing solid shots, he was getting those nice body shots on him. But overall, Skull was just a mover, bro. Like that dude was like he did some dance classes. He's a professional dancer, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that type of I don't know. That's hard to cut a guy like that. That type of fight would be super irritating, in my opinion.
For sure.
Try to cut that fucking guy off, and that guy's like, it was like, we talked about it. It was like when you were a little kid, that super fast little small kid that you could never catch, and he'd be like, huh, and he'd go underneath you. You know what I mean?
But listen to this. But on them same nights of boxing, you got a dude that won with that style, and you got a dude that lost with that style. So how could you how could you tell a man what to do if he winning with the style?
Well, yeah, because Devin Haney won with that style.
Right.
With that same technique of just gonna avoid my opponent, run around, throw a couple punches here and there, engage when I feel like it. Man. He won the fight. And then Canelo, but at the same time, his opponent wasn't even like Devin Haney's opponent didn't even fucking engage. Like, but Canelo was at least trying to cut him off and land them shots on him. And I think that's what won him that fight. But you're absolutely right. The same style, win, loss. So I guess it really depends on who's seeing that fight, how they're seeing that fight.
Depends on who that fighter fighting too.
Yeah, exactly. A guy like Canelo, you're not going to win that type of fight against him. You know what I mean? They're going to give it to him every time just because of who he is. Also, Devin Haney is the bigger fighter at that time. Who was it? Jesus Ramos that he fought?
Yeah.
A lot of hopes for that guy. He kind of went downhill fast.
Hell yeah, he did.
Moses Atamu is one of my favorite young heavyweights out of the Britain. And I've been waiting for him to get a big fight. He is going to take on Dillian White August 16th in Riyadh. That should be a good little test for this young fighter that I just talked about. We talked about young heavyweights, all that other stuff. That's be a good little fight for him. Now let's jump over to Jaime Munguia's B sample also tested positive. Awaits hearing with the BBB of C. At what point do you start, like Oscar De La Hoya brought this up, and I don't agree with him on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely right. You've got 6 fighters from the same camp who have tested positive for, performing enhancing drugs. When do you as boxing start to investigate Eddie Reynoso's camp and looking more into the camp itself? This isn't a 1-fighter, 2-fighter incident. Even your champion, even your best fighter has failed 2, not 1, but 2 drug tests in your camp. When do you start looking into that camp and start holding the trainer accountable for these failed tests and his fighters?
I don't know, bro. I don't know what's been going on. So I don't know.
I mean, if you look at Jaime Munguia, he never tested positive for anything the entire time he was with Golden Boy. And then the minute his very first fight with Eddie Reynoso in his camp, he tests positive.
Yeah.
Like
Some shit.
it's absolutely crazy, man. That's when you need a true committee in boxing. Instead of looking at it, oh, it said Reynoso, Canelo, oh, look at the name, all that bullshit, bro. Like you gotta start holding these camps accountable, these trainers, these managers who know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But there's no accountability, so why not give your guy, oh, he goes down. Who gives a shit, right? You still have your career. You know, I don't know, man. They got to start holding these guys accountable for this, and definitely need to investigate that camp. No doubt about it.
Damn. So the dude he just lost to, he went back and won. He had steroids in the system that time.
Yep. He tested for
I thought we
testosterone.
already talked about that though. I thought
No,
it
we
was already
talked
in the
about
can.
it. His A sample failed, and then he had to present his B sample. It also came back positive with a high level of testosterone and stuff like that. So he failed that. Now he's got to go to in front of the British Board of Boxing committee and pretty much explain to them what was in his system, why it was in his system. They all say the same thing. It was a steak I ate over there. They have a lot of stuff in the steak. I ate it. And, all of a sudden I got stronger.
Yeah.
I don't buy it,
Cheating ass bitches.
Yeah, it's a lot of cheating going on in that camp. It hasn't happened to one fighter, two fighter, three fighter, four. There's 5 fighters, 6 fighters, and maybe even fighters more.
Well, they need to be doing tests and putting that shit on display before the fight, bro. That's the only way it's gonna stop.
Man,
bro.
absolutely.
Why the fuck y'all waiting after the fight, bro? Like
exactly.
That's some bullshit, bro. That's bullshit.
How many fights have we come across with that same bullshit? That after a month after, 2 months after the fight, the fighter tested positive for this and that. What the fuck does that do any good after the fight has already happened? You know what I mean? And like you said, how can and then you get different results. We knew a week before Shakur versus what was his name that failed the drug test in the Reynoso camp.
I know you.
We knew.
About. I can't think
Valdez. Yes, Valdez. We knew a week before going into that fight that he had failed a test. Why did we know that with that guy? We don't know this shit with the other guys, and it takes longer. Why can't we just get to one testing for all fighters and making sure we test 2 weeks before the fight? Maybe even 2 weeks before the fight, you're testing these guys to see, okay, what's in their system a week before the fight.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. You're on point with that, brother. We both on the same thing. Like, how the fuck y'all do these tests too? They do them random tests, piss tests and shit. How the fuck is we getting these results after the
exactly? Fight? Yeah. Yep. Because if you sign up for VADA, you get random testing.
Mm-hmm.
They can show up at any time and test you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I just think it's an inconsistency. Guys, managers, promoters being able to pay people off to hold the results off, which makes no sense. If you know your guy tested positive and he's going to get caught for test, what's the point of letting him go out there and fight in a fight that is just going to be taken off and considered a no contest at the end of the day? I think every fighter that tests positive for any kind of PED, that should not be a no contest. That should come back as a loss on their record, not a no contest. What the fuck? A no contest is almost a reward. They don't have that L on their record. You know what I mean? Right. Now it's just a no contest. Fuck that. Those should be L's no matter who it is. That should be an L on their record if they come back and they test positive for PEDs.
Right. Exactly.
Now, you got a couple squabbles with me, my guy. You got a couple squabbles. Let's see what you got for me. You said you got some news for us. You got some stuff you want to bust out here. You're gonna put the cowboy
yeah, man.
in its place, baby. You gonna put me in this place? I'm gonna holster these bad boys. I'm gonna holster these guns. I'm gonna holster these guns, baby. Yeah. Don't be laughing. Don't be laughing at my guns, bro. You laughing at my guns, bro? Like, come on, this is nice.
I want to be shot. Keep them in a holster.
I'm a holster them bad boys. All right, what you got for me, my guy? What you got?
First, this ain't really it, but you ain't talking about. We ain't talking about. You know, they saying Boots supposed to be most likely gonna be going up to 154 now.
Virgil Ortiz.
But I'm saying, damn, he ain't gonna fight Brian Norman. He's gonna go up to 154 unless you outgrowing the weight, and it's hard for you to make it. Which we been saying you were too big for the weight class. They've been saying you should move up. But damn, you not gonna fight Brian Norman after this fight he had? Like, what's going on?
That's all Eddie Hearns, my guy. All Eddie Hearns. He's convinced this man, move up, fight your biggest fight. Your biggest fight is Virgil Ortiz. I don't know what kind of money Eddie's been promised to make this fight. He's been trying to make it for over a year. He's damn sure he's going to make this fight happen, even if it means his fighter not unifying a division, instead jumping up to 154. I think it's all about the money, the name, almost like we talked about with Canelo, or not Canelo, but Crawford fighting Boots, right? Boots just didn't have that name. Brian Norman doesn't quite have that name. That he doesn't have
belt. He got a belt, though.
He does have that belt. He does have a belt, and I think that's an interesting fight, and I think it's a great fight at 147, and I would rather see Boots stay at 147 and unify that division. But at the same time, how long is it going to take him to unify that? Should, like, let's say Brian Norman wins this weekend, or not this weekend, he wins Thursday. Should they automatically start that talk on Brian Norman and Boots by November?
Yeah, but they're talking about he gonna move up, man. But Brian, he young, so he can still stay there, conquer, fight the upcoming fighters like Teofimo, Davin, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like he a dangerous fighter to both of them motherfuckers. If they was to ever go to 147.
Eddie Hearns has a ulterior motive. And his ulterior motive has been clear for me for a while. He wants to move Conor Benn. It's one of his biggest investments. He has more money invested into Conor Benn than probably any of his fighters. Now, of course, Ben will do a rematch with Eubank. All that's going to happen. But I think he wants Ben to move back down to 147, where he could possibly unify that division. He's a good fight for anybody at 147.
Yeah.
I think that's been his ulterior motive ever since he signed Boots. He really wanted Boots to move up, and he wanted.
He'll go up to 154 and fight Conor Benn.
Where's Shakur? Shakur's at 135.
That's he said he would go up to 154 to fight Conor Benn.
He shouldn't have to go that far. Conor should go down to 147. I'd take that fight, Shakur versus Conor at 147 before 154. But Shakur he's big 135 guy.
I don't think so.
Man, he holds it well. Like, I don't know. Like, you see him growing. It seems like he gets a little bit bigger every fight. His height and his broadness and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he seems like a very big 135 guy. So I can see him being able to easily probably put the weight on to move up. I don't know how healthy it would be for him to go from 135 to 147, not 154. I wouldn't dare see him try to go to 154.
Yeah, that's a lot, though.
That is a lot for sure. I wouldn't test that for him. 147 would be the max I would attempt for him to go up, but that's a hell of a fight at 147. But like I said, that's why Boots is going up to possibly 154. It's been a motive of Eddie Hearn since he signed Boots to make him a 154 guy. To chase Crawford, that was a whole beginning of his process. But Crawford is aiming for the bigger fish in Canelo, and that's a retirement fight for Crawford, in my opinion. I don't think we see him fight anybody after Canelo unless he beats Canelo, and then there's an automatic rematch clause in there. But I say that's a retirement fight overall for Crawford. So I think Boots can no longer chase that. But there is a lot of talent at 154 for him to a lot more at 154 than 147, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. What else was you going to get on me about, my guy? You were going to get on me about something.
Man, shout out to all the kids at the USA Boxing Junior Olympics in Las Vegas that Jeff, the Cowboy, ain't tuned into.
I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. A lot on my plate, man. I juggle a lot. And, I keep forgetting about you guys. And absolutely, my guy, keep getting on me. Represent them. Give the shout out that they deserve on Bourbon Boxing, baby.
Yes, sir. Shout out to them boys and them girls out there doing their thing. Cincinnati holding it down. We got a few that won today. You know what I'm saying? That's winning today. Stopping shit from the ages of 9 to the ages of 15. So, yeah, I've been in tune with that. You be saying you watching all these fights overseas, you need to get in tune with that. You know what
Absolutely. I agree.
Do some scouting, man. Get you some young talent in your playbook, man.
Absolutely. I agree 100% on that, man, because I do pay a lot of attention to the overseas fights. A lot of young people coming out from overseas. And I think mainly because of the heavyweight division, overseas seems to be, the big prospects coming out seem to be coming over from overseas, Europe, stuff like that. Here in the U.S., almost like the heavyweight division is dead here, bro. Like it just, and we're supposed to be what? Don't they call us the most overweight country in the world?
Yeah.
Where's our heavyweights at? Where's these big dogs?
People ain't growing their kids up in the gym, man. They putting them at big linemen and shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Them big boys are going into being linebackers and defensive backs and terrors on the field. Absolutely, that is true. That is true. And you don't see that in our high schools either. There's not boxing in our high schools and stuff like that. So I think if there was, we'd produce a lot more heavyweights.
Yeah, they should make boxing classes in high schools, bro. You probably come out in schools, period. That'd be lying. Even from elementary.
Tell me about it, because they're automatically going to wear headgear. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be protected. Just let these young dudes bang it out. Have that bragging right. We the toughest.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
That would be
my old school. They had back in the day. I think they made that shit for Rasheed Warren, but they had boxing class at my old school, which was Harmony. Rasheed Warren went there. But yeah, they should,
that would be live, man.
Nice. Even karate, all that shit. Like put classes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Mixed martial arts. Give these kids
at a lot of these schools use the gym centers and shit. Not just boxing, and not just football and basketball and
all the basic ass sports
and volleyball, making some other shit too, combat sports and shit like that.
Have some karate competitions, MMA, boxing, you know what I mean? Load those gyms up with mixed combat, really develop our youth into being some bad son bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like get them when they're young, train them, and then America.
In the urban community, it's a lot of young people with guns that probably don't know how to protect themselves, so they pick up a gun first. That'd be a nice way for them to, keep them off the streets and shit. But people don't think like that. And it's centers around, but it's not centers in every neighborhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't beyond anymore, to be real with you. Few and beyond. Very few and beyond, man. It's very hard to find a boxing gym. Like we're in Cincinnati, so they're all over. So we can't really say
you saying like
Cincinnati
like
doesn't
close to
all around
you,
the US. You know what I'm saying?
like close to your area, like
like I'm
my
in
community.
Anderson. I'm in Anderson. I'd love to open a gym here. I think it would do great in Anderson. Open a boxing gym in Anderson. Get the young kids while they're young. Bring them in. Teach them a great sport like boxing. Not only is it a great exercise, stamina, and all that other stuff for people.
Discipline.
I mean, it teaches you discipline. It teaches you self-defense, how to protect yourself. And that's what, how I teach my kids is you don't have to be professional boxers, but, you can defend yourself when time comes. And when you show, like, as soon as like, most of the time fights, a lot of fights end the minute you were like, oh, you want this? And dude's like, all right, let's do it. Okay, I think we'll fight. You know what I mean? That'll change the whole perspective. Oh, hold on. He looked like he can throw some hands. Let me I was talking about dude behind you. But that would be something awesome to get into the schools. Definitely got to start paying more attention to the Youth USA boxing, man. Like you said, a lot of good young talent in there, man. And we definitely need to start giving these guys some shout outs on the show and, showing some love to them 100% for sure, man. Start paying more attention to USA boxing, baby. But once again, guys, this is episode 102 of Bourbon and Boxing, man. And we can't thank you guys enough for joining us for another episode with two of the hosts with the most up in here, the Cowboy and Spade, for another great episode of Bourbon and Boxing. And continue to join us every week. Big Spade, tell them what they need to do. Take us out. Let's end this show 102 on the road.
Y'all know what it say on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, and it's only a click to make a subscription stick. So
that's right.
Do that. Keep following us, keep watching us, keep tuning in, keep listening. Y'all already know it's Bourbon and Boxing.
That's it. All right, guys, have a great night. Enjoy your week of boxing. We'll get with you next week on some recaps on this week's fights, and hopefully we get some good news in boxing. Who's holding the news hostage, man? Who's holding? Release the news. We need something, bruh. We need something.
It's gonna be some news down the end of August.
Something has got something major has to pop off. We're waiting, guys. Give us the big news. We know we got all the big fights coming up, but we need a big announcement, man. This is Bourbon and Boxing. Over and out, 102. Thank you, guys. Much love. Have a great, great